Hello, 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 Betty. Welcome to another episode of Let's Get Inclusive, a disability lifestyle podcast with the girl Noluthando Mbonane. And today I am joined by a wonderful lady. Her name is Noluthando Mbonane. Now, how I met Noluthando Mbonane, she is the director of the APD, which is the Association for the Physically Disabled Greater Johannesburg. So, Noluthando, we really would like to get to know you because the reason we invited you is not a lot of young women get involved in the space of disability. You know, it can be seen as a very boring space. So I want to get to know more about you, how you grew up, your passions, and eventually how did you get here? So who is Noluthando Mbonane?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name, yes, is Noluthando Mbonane, that's correct. And I am originally from the KZN.
Right.
So I was born in Newcastle and moved to Johannesburg when I was around maybe 6, 7 years old.
Oh, so you're a Joburger, honey.
I am a Joburger, honey. So when I was growing up, I was raised by, I think, my mom. I don't have the whole history because I come from a very, very vulnerable history. I think I was raised by my mom from birth until I was 4 years when she passed on.
Yeah.
And my grandmother had to take the responsibility of being a mom. And I think genuinely it's not only in the space of disability. For me, I feel like it's a space of vulnerability. Like we come across a lot of social impediments. We come across being orphaned, disability, substance abuse, and all of that. At that time, I did not know what it was, right? But I feel like I was then raised in a space where I had to try and figure out how to move from one point to another. And when I grew up, I then went to varsity where I had, to choose and pick a career, and social work was the career that I went with.
So, Knowles, can I call you Knowles, right? You were talking about going into varsity, having to choose a stream that you were interested in, and you were just talking about social work. So can you take me through that? What led you to choosing that? I understand your background, but not everybody then, but your passions. Can you just take us through that?
All right, so at that time of my life, I feel I had already gone through so much that I felt people did not understand. I was raised by a family where, there was a mom, a dad, the kids, and I always felt like I was the odd one out, if you know what I mean. And, this feeling kept on going and going where I felt, do I really belong here? Am I accommodated? And obviously, within family dynamics, I'm sure you can imagine the type of situations that a child can go through. And when I then chose that career, my biggest thing was I'm going to be the voice for people that feel out of, a certain situation, or that feel they do not belong, or they are not accepted, or they are just completely, isolated or neglected. So that's how I then decided, you know what, I want to advocate for such people. I want everyone to be as comfortable as they possibly can be. And that's how I then decided social work was the career to go to.
Quite interesting because a lot of people usually they have a role model to emulate. That I grew up in such a family. Like, most of the time it's a family of doctors, a family of lawyers. And when you are coming from a background now, you're going to be the only one who is actually now going to be carrying that baton of social work, or someone who's going to heal the social ills that are surrounding maybe your family or your community. And so it's actually quite inspiring. But then your early career, then when you graduated, I believe, and then still continuing into the area of social work. Where did you start? Yeah, your early career. That's what I'm interested in.
I think when it started for me was in social work, there's a period where you do what we call in-service or practicals, right? And I was fortunately placed in an orphanage based in Midrand.
Sure, that must have been hard for
It
you.
was the hardest thing that I have ever had to go through because I then started seeing myself in these kids. And to be honest, when I was growing up, before I even went into social work, there's a time where I felt like, oh my gosh, living in an orphanage is better than what I'm going through, and I just want to sign myself up to an
Hey.
orphanage. So when I got there and like seeing how these kids are living and seeing, it was some sort of hope and inspiration, seeing that it is a possibility for kids to also feel at home when they do not have a home, when they do not have parents.
Yeah.
And that's when everything started for me. That's when I started dreaming of, I want to open my own home. I want to have an orphanage. I want to have a residence for people that, have disabilities. I want to have a rehabilitation if possible. And because of social work, that's when I started really getting to know about these social impediments and, finding out how you can help a person that is undergoing isolation or is being neglected or is feeling alone. And that's where everything started making sense and kicking off for me. And it just made me want more and more. It made me want to help each and every child that is homeless, each and every person that feels out of place.
But looking at in your experience, and of course it is your own personal opinion, the South African landscape when it comes to the social ills and the stance that we are taking as a country trying to repair it or fix it. I don't even know what the proper word would be in this instance. How do you think we are doing as a country?
Well, I think the proper way would maybe be to recover, right? Because I don't think we can fix it completely. But as a country, I do feel that we are doing as much as we can. We have government trying to assist where they can. We have private sectors that, are still willing to assist where they can. We do have residentials. We do have rehabilitations. We do have these orphanages, as I'm saying. So I think because there is that identification of the need, we have identified the need to have all of these in place, then we are definitely headed in the right direction. We just need to try and figure out how we can grow from where we are at this point.
Right. As you talk, my brain then wonders, we've got problems with Nyaope. And I've always wondered when it comes to persons with disabilities, right? When we're talking alcohol abuse, nobody really talks about that. And personally, I think that there is a big number of persons with disabilities that are going through depression and are relying on substances, substance abuse, whether it's alcohol, drugs, and everything. We have a huge problem of Nyaope. Have you maybe ever thought of looking into that, looking at substance abuse and disability?
Definitely, it is something that comes to mind often because with a social ill, it kind of does invite more. For example, if a person is struggling with maybe a disability that just occurred now, the stress of I'd never anticipated this could ever happen to me. This just happened now. What do I do next? How am I coping? And usually the easiest way to cope is substance abuse. It is, taking alcohol and using drugs. And once you're doing that, you then move to crime because now you need to take something to maintain these habits that you've currently. So it kind of does invite more social, ills and more stresses and trying to cope. So with a person with disability, I mean, the one thing that we do now, speaking as a director of an organization that empowers persons with disability, what we can do is always try and provide, therapeutic assistance, try and ensure that this person is able to speak to someone about what they are stressed about, what they're going through, what their week was like, and offer that platform where they can have someone to talk to them and assist them with these stresses. Now, if there is an extended need, for example, this person is already in substances, then that's where NPOs kind of like work together because then we can refer to an organization that assists with substances. So this person then receives from the Association for the Physically Disabled and from whatever organization that deals with substances, so that's when we can then.
So you're saying that there is partnerships within other organizations, so you don't work in silos, which is very encouraging because when you're looking at healing a human being, it has to be a holistic approach. You cannot just look, it has to be the mind, the body, and the soul. Very encouraging. And are you a mother?
Yes, I'm a mother.
I like getting to know people from, not only because you're not only just a working machine. You are a human being, you're a mother, you're a friend, you're a lover, you are a daughter, and your relationship with your daughter, right? Having seen how you have grown up and the feeling that you become very protective of her. But can you please just tell me about that? Of course, you don't have to mention her name for protection, because I understand she might still be young looking at you. But can you just tell me about the relationship with you and your daughter in comparison to how you grew up and what you see for her in the future? Actually, your relationship with her in the future.
Thank you so much. That what you're saying is very true. For instance, when you say a person is affected by everything that surrounds them. And before I respond and talk about my daughter, I just want to also add on what you were saying about the encouragement of, working together for an individual, because even the problem does not just arise, it stems from what we call ecosystems around them. It's either work, school, family, or whatever support group they belong to, church or whatever.
Yes.
And the problem can arise from either of those things, right? And as a mom, I did have my daughter when I think that was 2021.
Yeah.
And when I started,
I love the look on your face when you just talk about your daughter.
That's a very interesting question, and I really like that you asked me about that, because when I had her, I was at a point where I wanted family, and I felt like I never got a chance to know my mom. And, I just want someone that I'm going to say, because I never had sisters, I don't have brothers. It was just me, right? And now my mom and my dad are also not there. And I just felt like, you know what, I really need someone that I'm going to have a blood relation with. And that's going to be my child.
An extension of you.
An extension of me. And fortunately, I even had a girl. And I just see myself in her. And I want to protect her from, like you said, everything and anything. When I was pregnant, I was told that she has a hole in her heart. And that was very devastating. She also has a hernia. She then also had eyes that, I don't know what they call it, but her eyes were very close to each other. And she looked like, but as she grew up, you learn how to love all of those imperfections about her. Fortunately, everything is okay except the hernia. But, she is the one who also just makes me love what I do. Because when I walk out of the house, I know, I'm not only doing it for myself, right? One day she's going to learn how to accept people for who they are. She's going to have the heart
to legacy.
Help other people. And, every time that I leave the house, I think about that. And that's the kind of person that I want to raise.
Oh, man. And you are doing such a wonderful job. I've seen you at work, and I've seen how you engage with people. We've got that soft authority approach in all that you do. And, with a lot of people, usually people want to dictate and tell people how to do, what to do and how to do, and just be that, usomandla. But the best way to teach a person, especially your children and the people that you work with, essentially, is to lead by example. Say what you mean and mean what you say and do it. So I'm actually quite proud of you. Not many women in your position would do what you do. You find that a lot of people would have gone, I suffered. I went through the hard time. So nomunye umuntu uzozibona. They will just have to find their way themselves too. And I'm going to do a career that's going to benefit just me. But here you are working in an environment that is very charity based. So I'm going to ask you something which will be quite controversial. South Africa's got a very charity-based model when it comes to NGO. You are in a position of a director, meaning you are in a position of possible changing the narrative of NGO. In short, what is your 5-year plan? What is your 5-year goal being where you are? I don't think you want to sit there forever. You would want to grow or grow the organization, if not grow you yourself, but you want to grow the organization. So you probably have a plan. So I'm curious.
I actually would love to be there for the rest of my life.
Yes.
I know people look at you and say, oh, she's so young, she can't be in the NPO.
That's what everybody's thinking. Yeah.
But for me, the way that I look at it, I wouldn't feel the satisfaction of helping other people if it's not within the NPO space, right? Because that's where you give service without expecting anything in return. And that's just what I love about, the NPO sector. That's to answer your question, let's just say in 5 years, I would like NPOs to operate like your big private companies. I'd like to see us making more money independently. I'd like to see us, when you say model, what comes to mind is begging, because that's what we usually do, right? We will beg private sectors, please assist us, we are lacking here and here, please assist us. But what I look for and what I'd like to try to do for the NPO that I'm currently leading, I want us to work as a big company. I want us to have HR, finance, everything. And I want us to have departments where we have our own advertising. We are able to also offer a certain service not only to the vulnerable but worldwide, to everyone, that might need the service. I want us to also, start making income instead of, just always asking for income. So speaking of that, so do you have platforms where volunteers can come in and people want to participate? How do they get in touch with you, with the organization? How do they participate? What ways are they? Because I believe there are young people out there who might just be bored at home, want to be part of something big, something great. So we are affiliated with, what should I say? Let me just say it's a social media platform that's called Give and Gain, where we kind of, do advertise. We need volunteers. We'd like to have, even if it's a student that's looking for placement or, that's anyone who's looking for experience, we are willing to offer that. So we do have professionals. We have social workers, social delivery workers. We have, financial departments, and everyone who's looking for experience could always go and reach us at Give and Gain. We also do have social media platforms, your Facebook, your Instagram. We're registered there as the Association for the Physically Disabled. So whoever who would like to contact us can make contact via those social media platforms. Great. But also we do take walk-ins. So if someone might be interested, we understand some people are not big on social media. They can always walk in and, request to volunteer. We do accept those. Yeah. We spoke greatly about you, and I'm happy about that. But your work that you do is very great, and there might be someone who is in Joburg and maybe they've acquired a disability and they don't know where to go. And I understand that you have offices, but where are your offices? Are you easily accessible in the communities? How? So we are based. We have 4 offices, but the main office is based in Johannesburg. That's in Pallinghurst Road, Westcliff. Oh, the bushy side. Nice. We also have offices in Tembisa, Etafeni. We have offices based in the community clinic in Alexandra, 8th Avenue. We also have an office in Soweto. That's Mutale Street in Rockville. So we are very accessible because we have home care-based caregivers that walk around the community, providing the service. We are also usually dressed in uniform. I'm sorry, I did not. I think that would have made things easier, but they are usually in golf t-shirts that have APD, and we also do have community awareness outreach where we teach about, persons with disability. We teach about accessibility, how to make the community accessible for persons with disability. We teach about different types of disabilities, We teach about how we can, how we can develop relationships with families of persons with disabilities and how we can make persons with disabilities inclusive and a part of us as a community and a society.
Great stuff. And listener, I think maybe, I don't know, do you have your social network, your social handles that people can get hold of you? I think you're a very inspirational somebody, and always believe that if it's getting hold of In Touch with the Association, they would maybe want to read up about you, whatever's on LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. And also maybe if you also can leave the telephone number that people can call if they want to get hold of the organization of the APD Greater Johannesburg, to be precise.
So I'm not really that good with social media, but on Facebook, I'm Noluthando Mbonane. On Instagram, it's naughty.nols. The same with Twitter, same with TikTok.
Yeah.
So naughty.nols. And the contact details for APD would be 011 646 8331. So that's 011 646 8331.
And www.
And the website is www.apdjhb, so APD Johannesburg, .com. And you can also email us at info.apdjhb.co.za.
Great stuff. This has been so much fun. I really had a good time getting to know you and the wonderful work that you do. South Africa, I hope that you get inspired. We have so much heroes that go unsung and people doing so much wonderful work. And I really, 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 really hope to see you on the next one. Your girl, Noluthando K. Peace out.